Hey guys, welcome back to the off ramp. I am your host, Thomas Jason Anderson. Good morning, everybody, and thank you for joining me. For all of you who will come on later on and see the video later on, the recording later, thanks for joining. Thanks for supporting. Uh, Join the comment section if you're live right now, because I will be spending some time answering some questions, because today's topic about the world realignment that's happening. And it looks like Guyana is one of the big winners in the realignment. So definitely be taking some questions. Anyone who any questions you have, I'll definitely answer some during this live broadcast. Um, but let's get into a few things that are important here, right? So first of all, before we get into the important stuff, let me just say this. I was thinking about it a lot, and I said, one of the things that we're all having in our personal lives, and when it comes to political stuff, we're having a problem sort of interfacing with each other, sometimes with other people, especially when it comes to politics. Is we're all coming to the table with our preconceived notions about what the world is and what's going on and who's doing what, and a lot of it's based on our own life experience. A lot of us are very knowledgeable, but I think it's time that we all take a step back and realize that the world has taken this leap because of technology. And this leap has been just such a huge leap that whatever we all think we knew about each other, whatever we thought we knew about politics, whatever we thought we knew about the world, we're realizing we didn't know. Okay. And in such a situation, right? I think what we need to start having is how can I put it? I've seen this a lot and I've said it, but it's easier said than done. I think we need to have some more compassion for each other and some more understanding, because the truth is, at this point, very few of us are experts as to what's really going on. There's very few. And most of these so-called experts who are out there talking about this, you can see that they're so wrong. Like Tucker Carlson is supposed to be the top voice for all of conservatives in America, or at least one of the top voices, and he's supposed to be an intellectual voice as well. And he's been dead wrong on the Iran stuff the entire time. Uh, our politicians have been wrong. So many people have been so wrong here. Now, I will say, for the record, I haven't been wrong. If you go back and you look at what I've been talking about concerning this issue, and you can go back almost 15 years, I've been saying the same exact thing about the Iranians, the Venezuelans, the position of Guyana in that nexus, and America's position. And I've known about this axis, this like dark money, dark, black market, illicit drug smuggling market for a long time. And it's what helped me co-author the book Gold Bar Bob, right? And so I have a unique perspective here because I've been tracking this alliance between the Iranians, the Venezuelans, and the Cubans and the Russians. And I've been watching them. I've been working on projects concerning this group of characters, this group of nations down in the Caribbean for, like I said, like 15 years, since 2010, I believe. And I've focused on it because I started to see how these networks, these illicit criminal networks, were using sanctioned countries to get smuggled goods into the United States, drugs, but they were also bribing our politicians. And the way they were doing it was through junkets. It was actually, they've been bribing our politicians right in front of our faces in the United States. All right. These really dark, evil smuggler guys, human trafficking people, these guys have been bribing our politicians in the United States for a long time now. And it's been legal bribing, not illegal, legal. We've allowed this. Okay. You'll see, you can go back and see, I've been talking about Citizens United. Not that I think that we should have campaign limits for who can, or we should block certain people from giving money, or no. I think we need transparency. As a matter of fact, the Supreme Court, when they came down with the decision on Citizens United, they said the answer to this is Congress and transparency, right? And why do we need transparency? So we can see who's really funding our politicians, who's really filling their bank accounts full of cash for them to go on their little junket trips to the Caribbean and all that stuff. Who's doing that? We don't know. It's dark money. But I can promise you this, it's coming from these guys, the Iranians, the Venezuelans, the Russians, and they're pipelining it through their little illicit networks using countries that are sanctioned. They plunk it into little tax havens in the Caribbean. Panama was used for a long time for this. And they just launder the money into the United States, and they flood our political campaign system. And they're literally influencing, they're changing the trajectory of American politics through this mechanism. And I have watched this mechanism now going back to the Citizens United decision. So that's how long we have been getting gutted politically by our adversaries overseas. And the way they've done it is 100% legal. They haven't broken the law. They've bought off our politicians through our own system and through lack of transparency. And our politicians won't clean this up because they're enjoying being able to be bribed without going to jail. It's just that simple. That's what we're seeing. So since that's what we're seeing, all of this debate that everyone is seeing on television about it's the Jews attacking Iran, it's the Chinese, it's the this, it's the that. No, the main issue that we have here is in the United States and across the world right now, our leaders have basically been paid off, blackmailed, caught up in some kind of horrible thing, and they're bound. And that's what we have in our elite leadership, not just in politics. It's corporate, it's in the education industry, it's everywhere you look, right? Where the elite, the top of the top, have been like almost hijacked through corruption, through blackmail, you name it. But we have been overrun with it. And the source has been these dark black market economies that are under full sanctions, like the Iranians. So, as I was saying in the beginning, we kind of have to throw out whatever we think we know, because a lot of this situation, a lot of what's happening right now on the surface is actually the cause of it is deep below, and very few of us can see it. And so we're all sort of arguing on something that none of us, we're not equipped. Good morning, OG Caesar. Good morning, Caesar, man. What's up, man? So we're just not equipped to have the proper conversation on the Iran war. We are not. I'm telling you guys now, we aren't. So with that said, here's the off-ramp approach. Instead of debating the political ramifications or taking a side, I just kind of want all of us to get together and just look at what's actually happening. Let's just look at the results, right? And what that'll lead you to is to a realization, especially in the Caribbean, that the nation of Guyana, especially, is in a prime position, okay, to be sent into the stratosphere economically, politically, culturally, and in a very short amount of time. And the reason why is because of this Iran war. What Trump essentially did, if you guys remember the timeline here, Marco Rubio came down and visited the Caribbean before this attack on Iran. That was very important because there's no way we take out the leadership in Iran and make it so that the Straits of Hormuz are shut down if we aren't 100% sure that we can carry the load internationally on the oil stage. And in order to do that, we've got to have Guyana on board. We got to have Venezuela. We got to have Brazil. We got to have Canada and us. And we got to go further. Jamaica and these other islands. If you look, this is what's happening. Okay. And It's because that Straits of Hormuz situation, it's starting to seem to me like it may never get right, not anytime soon. And here's the reason why. If you look at what's happening in the Middle East right now, the Straits of Hormuz is shut down. China gets 40% of their oil coming through the Straits of Hormuz. 40%, which means they're getting no oil right now. China has asked the Iranian government to open the Straits of Hormuz back up, don't shut it down. And the Iranians who are still alive agree with China, but the problem is Iran hasn't shut the straits down. The Straits of Hormuz were shut down by the insurance companies. The insurance companies refuse to insure these tankers coming through the straits. They refuse. And since they refuse to insure the tankers don't go. And so it doesn't matter what China says to Iran, none of it matters. All that matters is the area is so destabilized for China to be able to get what they need, the 40% they've been getting through the straits. They're going to have to carry the entire load to do it. They're going to have to do all the insuring. They're going to have to work on that. I mean, they're going to have to actually, if they want that 40%, they're going to have to put the work in to get it. And so that's where we're really at. If you're really looking at the situation right now, what you're really seeing is China has been hurt horribly with this Iranian situation. They have been hurt so bad. They are now in a position where they have to fix Iran, because if they don't fix it, then the Straits of Hormuz don't reopen. And if they don't reopen, then China's losing 40% of their oil. That's a lot of, I don't know how you make that up. I don't know how you fix that. Right? So if you really want to look at this situation, it's obvious now, right? Going forward, what China did was China said, look, we have taken over all of the rare earth minerals in the world. We control that market. If the world wants magnets, they got to come to us, which means if you want AI, if you want any kind of advanced technology, you have to go to China. You can't go anywhere else because they've cornered the entire market internationally. And they've used that leverage to get what they want all over the place, all over the world, which is, hey, I'm not complaining. I mean, that was a smart move, right? This is intelligent by these guys to do that. Very smart. But at the same time, they did that. What they didn't do was protect their energy, their oil. And that protection meant that they needed to spend more time on peace in the Middle East and solidifying that regime in Iran rather than cornering the rare earth market. So it's like, now they have to make a choice. Are they going to now be in a position to unlock the rare earth market and let everybody on in and stop using that as leverage to get their way? Are they going to do that? If they don't, I think what happens is the Straits of Hormuz get shut down again. And so I think what I'm seeing here is there has been a new pivot point created in the world, and it's the Strait of Hormuz. That is the new pivot point. That's it. And I think what we'll see now is chaos around that place for a long time, until China can come to the table on the rare earths, until China can come to the table on a lot of different things. I think the Straits of Hormuz is going to become a real problem for them, just a horrible problem for them, right? And so if that's the case, that means that the Caribbean now is the place to be in the world. Why? Because if the Straits of Hormuz are constantly in a position of flux and it's chaotic and people don't really know our ship's going to come through or not, what this does is it raises the price of oil. And once the price of oil goes up, Guyana's revenue goes up. And so immediately, guys, let's just throw out all the arguments you've seen on television. Let's forget about whatever they're saying about Israel and this or that, and the great Satan, this is Armageddon. Let's just forget about all that. Let's just look at this one reality. All right. That Guyana, most of Guyana's revenue comes in the form of oil revenue. If the price of oil doubles, the amount of revenue the Guyana government has coming in doubles. But it's better than that, because a lot of people complain about that Exxon deal with Guyana, and it is like out of whack compared to other deals. There are reasons for it, but is a good part of the deal, and it's this. Once all of the cost of the oil drilling and all of that is paid off, then the nation of Guyana starts to really bring in the money. And so if you think about it, in about 6 or 7 years, the nation of Guyana could have a situation where the price of oil has doubled or even tripled. So they're bringing in double, triple the revenue. And on top of that, they no longer have to cover the cost of the oil drink because it's been paid for. So now it's just pure profit. So we may see Guyana in about 5 or 6 years, because of this Straits of Hormuz issue. I'm pretty sure, guys, you guys are better than good, like way better than good. So that doesn't mean that you're perfect. That doesn't mean that, okay, we've won, time to go home, right? Sorry, I'm going to check the comments, guys, because I just want to make sure I'm commenting here. Hey, Latchman, what's up, Jason? Thank you. So just because Guyana's in a great position now because of this problem in the Middle East, right? That doesn't guarantee victory. It's not like you can go home now, oh, we won, we did it. No, because all of this hinges on Guyana being stable politically. And there are many wolves in the forest trying to get in on you guys' situation to really mess it up. Okay? Because if they can mess you guys up, then that puts pressure on ensuring that the Straits of Hormuz is okay, which, in other words, you have to give China control of all the of most of the region. And yeah, so there are many wolves who can see that in causing chaos in Guyana, which can ricochet or domino effect chaos into Venezuela, if they can make that happen, right, then it changes the calculus on the Straits of Hormuz and the situation in the Middle East. But that should let you guys know. Yes, Caesar. That's right. So, but that should let you know, right, that the most important thing that Guyana has to do going forward is to make sure that the political situation is good. Why? Because if the political situation is good, with the numbers coming in, it's impossible to not be successful. It's impossible for Guyana not to be in the stratosphere. It's just impossible. So that's the only thing, that everything hinges on political stability in Guyana. So that brings me all the way back to this, guys. Okay. And it's like the old fashioned sayings in life, like we all know that old saying, if you want to go and change the world, the first thing you have to do is get your house in order first. Before you can go out there and do whatever you think you're going to do with your life, get your house in order first. Because if you try to go out there and do something without your house in order, you're going to have a problem, right? And so that's the thing with Guyana, is the people of Guyana have to get their house in order. They have to find a way to stop fighting politically and work together politically. The people of Guyana have to find a way to have a higher vision on this, a bird's eye vision, and to see that in the geopolitical world of things, that as long as you guys stay stable and you're not tearing each other down, you're going to be better than good. So that's the key. And so when you guys hear me come on here on the off ramp And I'm constantly calling for, not only in the United States, but Guyana and everywhere, I'm constantly calling for leadership in these countries to stop fighting each other, to come together, work together to get things done. There's a time for fighting. I'm not saying don't ever fight politically. What I'm saying is we are in that place right now where this is not the time to fight. It's not. This is the time to come together. This is the time to put differences aside and go win. That's what this is. All right. Anyone else that you hear out there, I don't care what their platform is, I don't care what the news media says. If there are people out here trying to create political chaos in Guyana, in the United States, if they're attacking their political opponents, and that's all they do, they never try to work with their political opponents. I'm telling you guys, you gotta put that down. We're in a world now, like I said before, we have advanced so far. Nobody really knows what's really happening, not truly. And so, because of that, everything that happens, there's going to be good and bad. Even in great times, anything that happens will have good and some bad, right? So, we have to start realizing, hey, for those people who don't like Trump, I understand. Okay. I get it. But we're in that time now where Trump needs support when it comes to dealing with Iran and China. He needs support on that because that is to the benefit of all of us. It doesn't matter how bad of a guy Trump is. It doesn't matter what you think of him. All that matters is he's fighting a battle against enemies of ours. How do I know this? Like I said to you before, the chaos that those guys are creating in the Middle East, and they are, okay? China, they're the ones who propped up that mullah regime all these years. China's the one who was giving them parts and everything they needed to build their nuclear program. China's the one and giving them parts in order for them to get these missiles that can hit a dime anywhere on the planet. China's giving them these things. China gave them the loans. China buys their oil. That regime was a puppet of China in Iran. And so if you want to know what the Chinese people are all about, all you need to know is who are their puppets? The Iranian regime, Maduro, Kim Jong-un. These are their puppets. So that kind of is a reflection of who they are, right? And what they're all about. The Chinese people, from my vantage point, looking at actions, I'm not talking about past and politics or no debates, just looking at actions, they were very happy having that crazy ass regime running Iran. They were beyond happy. That's what they like. And unfortunately for us in the West, we don't like that. The Chinese people, they like it. Us in the West, we don't like it. Culture clash. The Chinese did not want to give up the mullahs. They didn't want to stop supporting them. As a matter of fact, the Chinese wanted them to become more powerful. That's how much the Chinese people love the psychotic Iranian regime. They love those guys. They still love them, right? And so that should give you an idea of what Trump is battling. He's battling guys who are in your face, a murderous terrorist regime, lawless regime, in your face. They tell you to your face that's who they are. They're 100% backed by the Chinese because the Chinese like that. And Trump is going to war against them. Now, you can say what you want about the past and about the Jews and about the this and about the that, but that's what this is coming down to, flat out. And so it's not going to change. China is going to continue to try to prop up terrorist regimes, to try to give them nuclear weapons, to try to pin down the entire Middle East. Why? Because if China can pin down the entire Middle East with a crazy, radical Iranian regime, then they can just take all the oil. To hell with all of you there. I mean, it's pretty obvious that's what they were doing. That's why else would you partner so hard with psychotic lunatics like the mullahs, other than you want to take over all the oil? This is what they were up to. That's the fight. Now, people can say, I want to join China's side. I think they're the good guys in this, and I think they should be able to take over the Middle East with crazy Iranian mullahs. Fine. You can agree with that all you want. But all I'm saying is for us in America who do not agree with that, we've got Trump. I'm not a fan of Trump, right? But I'm not a fan of any politician. I look at what they're doing. And when they're doing something right, I say it. When they're doing something wrong, I'll say it. What Trump is doing right now in Iran, it's political courage. It is necessary. It's the right thing to do. Anyone who speaks outside of that is either ignorant of what's happening in the world for real, or they're getting monetary benefits somehow through China or people who are Iran crazy mullah supporters, right? And they don't want their gravy train to go away. And unfortunately, we don't have enough platforms like mine letting you guys know what's really going on for your own personal benefit, for your own personal lives. So, us here in the West, it benefits us to have a stable Caribbean. It benefits us to have a thriving Guyana. It benefits us to have a thriving Venezuela. It benefits us to have a thriving Brazil, a thriving Cuba. This benefits us through the roof. This is what we want. It gives us security and it provides us wealth. And by the way, we love the vacation in the Caribbean. We do as Americans, okay? So we don't want to mess up the Caribbean. Bro, nobody in America wants to cruise around the Caribbean that's like people, nobody wants to cruise around the Caribbean that's all Haiti, put it that way. Nobody wants that. And I understand people are saying, well, America did that to Haiti and this, and that. I get it. But if you go back into some of my work, I have been hypercritical of the Haiti situation, even when it was happening. And that's what you get here in the West is even when wrongs are done, we have a strong media. We have book authors. We have philanthropists. We have all kinds of people who are not in the government, who give everything they have to help our neighbors. That's sort of what I'm doing with Off Ramp, right? I'm trying to help you guys in Guyana and the Caribbean and here in South Florida. I'm trying to help all of us get a much better idea of what's really affecting us and what isn't. Let's get away from the political arguments. Let's focus in on what's necessary for us. And what's necessary for us right now is for us to put our differences aside, come together as brothers and sisters and look out for each other regardless of our political differences. It's the time to come together. We have to do it. And it's going to have to start when we're talking about Guyana or the United States. It's going to have to start from the people in power. It's impossible for powerless people to make good with the powerful. They can't do it. It's the powerful who have to make it right. And so the onus is on our elite in Guyana and the United States. The onus is on the PPP. That's where it's at. Now, I've given my recommendations on how the PPP can start to bring the country together. I've said it. I think their attacks on social media people, I think their attacks on the media in general, I think their political attacks have been way, way, way over the top. They've created instability. The PPP's just attacks on the media, social media, and in the political sector. It's just been, in some cases, heinous. And I understand that that's how they play politics. But Guyana isn't some backwater nation anymore. It's time that the PPP wakes up and realizes, hey, man, your old strategies of like what you guys do to intimidate your opponents, to starve them out economically and all, you guys got to stop. You're gonna hurt yourselves more than anyone else playing these stupid games that you guys are playing over there. It's just the truth. So the powerful, the people with the power have to create a scenario where the nation of Guyana can come together, and the same thing in the United States. It's on Donald Trump to bring the nation together. It's on him. He's got to do it. Not the Democrats, Trump. So that's where we are, guys. Okay, that's the true reality here of what's going on. It's not an easy situation to figure out. What needs to be done going forward is going to be really hard. Because even if the PPP or if Donald Trump can find a way to bend to try to work with his enemies, the enemies still have to accept his hand, or the opposition still has to accept the gesture from the PPP. So this isn't, it has to start with the PPP. It has to start with Trump. But the Democrats in America and the APNU in Guyana, they have a responsibility to the voters here in the United States and in Guyana to take an offer. If Trump gives, or if the PPP give an offer, you guys have to work with them. Got to do it. It's that time. So with that said, guys, let's try to do that today, man. Let's work together. Let's put our political differences aside. I know it's not easy, but we got to do it, because this is the time to do it, because this is the time to reap what so many people have sown in love and in diligence and in just hard work for so many generations in Guyana and the United States. It's time to start reaping the harvest. Put the political differences aside, get together and start reaping those fruits, guys. So with that said, have a great day. I will see you guys tomorrow. Thank you again. Hey, the shares, the likes, the comments, all of it is appreciated. Thank you very much. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Take care.
Now I'ma put it down like that. I'm leaving, I ain't coming back. You don't like the way I act anyway. You really don't have to react. Don't try to change my mind, in fact. Honey, I've already packed all my stuff. We're no longer kids, let's move on. And you are not my kid, so I'm done. Please don't make me pull my gun. Sorry boy, I can't be the one. You know it, yeah. Nothing lasts forever. You know that a change will make it better. You know that nothing lasts forever. You know that, yeah, change will make it better. There's no one to blame, you see. Maybe we're not meant to be. There are plenty more fish in the sea anyway. Every day's a different thing, so I'm not into wedding rings. It ain't personal, it's the way I think.